Alrighty everybody, so welcome back to Alpha Mods. First thing I want to point out, I'm finally using a GoPro instead of my iPhone 13, so hopefully you guys can appreciate, I guess, the better quality. I'm not sure how much better quality. I'm not sure if you guys even need to see myself in better quality. But anyways, I want to talk about something really important on these Alpha 2.0s. There seems to be a lot of issues with owners running into some major issues as far as having a coolant leak, and it seems to always end up being from one of three places. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a walk around of the vehicle and kind of go into where the problematic areas are, and then we're going to talk about the solution, because there are different kinds of solutions. One of them is going to be a full replacement solution to one of the more outdated hoses, and then one of them is going to be a easy solution, which I think everybody could appreciate more. Easy is always better, and a lot of the times if you can prevent something from happening, it's better to have that done instead of something happening whenever you're completely in a situation where you can't fix it easily. So I think we'll go into the preventative side first. I'll go ahead and show you right here. Now that's lit up. And if you look right there in the middle of that hose, there is a little screw there, and that's the coolant bleeder. So that thing tends to break, and probably at the most inconvenient and worst time possible. A lot of people have been stranded because of it. And there is a solution. Alfissimo sells this little billet kit that comes from another company. I don't remember the name of them, but we're basically just going to be replacing that right there. They do have a replacement for one way even further back there, but I don't think it's really necessary for me to do that right at this second. So right now we're going to just focus on that. And I'm basically letting my car, I let it sit for an entire day so I don't have any coolant that's going to be splashing everywhere. Okay, so basically this is what we're replacing here. Very small, very standard. Now the kit that you get does come with two of these. One of them is the larger one that's in the back. I'm not going to really be showing that. The other one is the smaller one in the front. So this is essentially what we're replacing. It has an O-ring around it there. This new nice billet one has an O-ring around it there, and it should be a lot more durable. And okay, so now that we have it installed, I'm going to turn on the car and make sure we're not losing any. Let's go ahead and pop the hood here. Last time I did it, I popped the trunk instead. And we'll go around and show you guys. Let me go ahead and turn off the car real quick because the sound might be a little distracting here. Alright, so let's talk about some of the common issues on this car. One of them is going to be this coolant hose that's right in this area, and I'll go ahead and zoom in right there. As you guys can see, there's a nice little billet piece that is now replacing the bleeder screw that was in there before. The bleeder screw that comes from the factory is made of recycled plastics. I think this has been covered quite a few times on the Giulia forums, but to say the least, it is not very sound. That thing tends to break at the worst possible time. I've seen different cases of people on road trips and just being talking about getting stranded places, and it's just not a fun experience. So with that being said, it's better to replace it now rather than a later kind of a scenario. This kit right now, it may be a little bit pricey. It's like $70 something from Alfissimo, and I got it from Jason at Alfissimo because I like buying my products from him. Highly recommend him. He was able to get me a lot of parts that other people couldn't, including the parts for my OEM quad diffuser. But anyways, getting back to this, a third-party company makes it, and it was a fairly easy install, with the whole scenario of don't drop it or else it's going to be a pain in the ass kind of thing. But all you had to do was remove the OEM one that was there and replace that. Now there is a second one that also can be replaced. What has to be done is the engine cover has to be removed, which is 110mm here, 110mm here, and then you kind of just pull off, cover comes off, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's basically, there's another hose right back here. Let me see if I can, there we go. Let me see if I can get the zoom. But basically you can see it from there, and I'll kind of highlight it. But it's another little billet piece that it comes with that replaces that as well, so that way you don't have to worry about that plastic brittle piece breaking. Now for the third hose. This is an extremely common one, especially with the 2017s. This hose, it runs from here all the way across the back of the engine cover. This thing tends to break quite easily, so if you're ever doing maintenance on your car, you're ever removing this engine cover, be very cautious with this hose here, because it's not an easy, simple fix if it does break. Now, the older one 2017 had a little bit of an issue that they addressed and then updated with the 2018. So 2018 up, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Now, as far as the second option, if you wanted to skip ahead and replace this entire hose with the updated piece, that includes from the bottom to the receiving end over there, you can do so. And I'll go ahead and put a link up on the Alfissimo site, so that if you guys want to get the entire full replacement, you're going to be able to just order it. It might be a little bit more work than just adding in that reinforced billet bleeder screw, but if you want to go ahead and redo the whole thing, that's always an option as well. So it's probably one of the most annoying things that could possibly happen to you if you do run into this scenario, because you'll end up noticing it either by the smell of coolant, or you'll see a giant pool of coolant. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to notice and stop your car before it ends up overheating, because this is also a way to have catastrophic engine failure if your car completely overheats and you run out of coolant. So keep that in mind, that it's pretty important, and you definitely want to get it addressed eventually if you have under a 2020. And I'm addressing it before it happens. I know a lot of people wait until it does happen to address it, but for me, I'm going to go ahead and like I said, I've already replaced the bleeder screw, and I'm really happy with the quality of it as well. So hopefully this video helped shed some light on what kind of preventative maintenance you guys can do as far as replacing that bleeder screw, so that you don't end up in a catastrophic situation where you lose all your coolant, or you end up on the side of the road. Worst case scenario, you lose all the coolant and you don't notice it, and then you end up having to get an engine replacement because of it. So hopefully this kind of gives everybody a heads up as to what to look for and what the possible solutions are for the problem that most 2.0 owners end up having, especially people that are buying the used ones, the pre-2020 ones. Nothing wrong with those. Again, I haven't had that issue happen to me, but I've heard enough of that happening to other people for me to want to replace the bleeder screw and not worry about it. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching me so much, and I can't believe that we're like over 1,000 subs now, and we're doing great, and I really hope we can continue to make more videos together. And as always, Alpha Mods out.